Hey folks, this is Matt once again, coming at you with a review for a movie that was sent to me by Roger, Dieto Jester 13. This is the last film. This is the last review to do with someone that sent me something. But that is and it makes sense, it's December, so I'm reviewing Silent Night, which is the 2012 remake of the original Silent Night, Deadly Night from 1984. And real quick, I'm probably not going to review the Silent Night, Deadly Night films because to be honest, lately I just haven't been in the mood to review stuff. Haven't been in the mood to make videos. I definitely, reviewing the I Spit on Your Grave films, all the Omen films, and the stuff that I've been sent and requests, and I sort of got burned out by it. So I don't want to do, 5 more Silent Night, Deadly Night films. Real quickly, I like the first Silent Night, Deadly Night. I know it got a lot of controversy when it came out because, the ads would say it's a guy dressed up as Santa, but then a lot of parents and stuff are, oh, our kids will see the commercials and they'll think that Santa's really doing it. And I'm thinking, why don't you tell your fucking kids something, you know? But I know that the original film got released, but they got pulled out of theaters very quickly. It's funny is that Mickey Rooney was one of those guys who's like ragging against the film, but yet he would be in Silent Night, Deadly Night 5, The Toy Maker. Ironic enough, huh? Let's see. But I liked the original Silent Night, Deadly Night. Uh, I thought it went at a decent pace. I thought I didn't mind the guy who played the killer. His little bit of backstory that most of his family was, he had the crazy ass grandfather, which they do a little bit on that in this movie. Although I think it was done better in the original film. And you feel then his family when he was a kid, his parents get killed by someone who's in a Santa Claus costume, and now and today he gets a job and they say, hey, you have to put on the Santa suit, and that's where he sort of starts to go nuts. And I didn't mind it. I would say I'm a little bit more involved with the story as opposed to this one. And that's where that you had, I believe, it was Linnea Quigley stabbed, impaled with antlers, which they do that in this film as well. But I didn't. I say that stuff, but this isn't a shot-for-shot remake at all. It's definitely its own, for the most part, its own film. But I like the first film. The second film, I actually do enjoy, but it's one of those, for me, it's so bad, it's funny. Like Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, I just have such a laugh against. Because most of the Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 is stock footage. It's stock footage from the first film. So it's like you don't even need to see the first film. See the second film. You see all the best bits from the first film. Plus, you get this guy who plays the original killer's brother, who, for first part of the film, he's talked to by a doctor. And, the actor, Eric Freeman, I swear to God, this is like one of the best, worst actors I've ever seen in my life from Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. I just love this guy. I wish, if this guy's still alive, I wish they would find him and interview him. I really do. Because he always, everything is with his eyebrows. He's like, hey, Doc, how's it going? Doc, you just can't keep a good man down. That's not the line of dialogue, but I can't remember the line of dialogue. But he's like, yeah, my brother. Yeah, he was doing well at Christmas time. But maybe they were just naughty. Like his eyebrows are just going schizophrenic crazy. It's just hilarious. And that's where you get the famous, he's walking down, he's like, hey, garbage day. I love that movie, man. He kills someone with a fucking umbrella, impales him, and opens the umbrella. Oh my god. I did a kick out of that movie. That movie just is fun to watch. Silent Night, Deadly Night 3 is a very boring film. I guess it's supposed to be the killer from the second film, Eric Freeman, but for some reason these doctors are doing experiments with this other person who's I believe she's blind. Is she blind? I believe she's blind. and like someone dealing with dreams. And then Bill Moseley is the killer, and he's completely wasted because he has like one line of dialogue at the very end or something. And they put this fucking, like, it looks like a, I don't know, this is gonna be so, no one's gonna fucking remember this. There's a film called Best Defense with Dudley Moore and Eddie Murphy. The gyro thing that Dudley Moore's like running away with. It's like, it looks like a toy. It looks like a fun, like his kid has a toy like that. It looks like they just put that shit on Bill Moseley's head, and Bill Moseley just walks around like a zombie, and it's extremely dull, it's extremely slow, it's really fucking boring. Sound Night Deadly Night 4 The Initiation, never saw. Sound Night Deadly Night 5 The Toy Maker has a kid who I swear to God, if you lit a fire up his ass, he would still fall asleep from it. Like, this is literally one of the worst kid actors I've ever seen. And a fucking grenade next to him would not wake him up. And then you find out, oh yeah, this other guy, he's not really a guy, he's a toy that was made by the toy maker. And of course, because the guy's name is Pino, as in Pinocchio. It's a toy maker. A guy named Pino, which is how you start Pinocchio. I wonder if he's a toy. Yep, he's a toy. Of course, it had nothing to do with the previous films. Ooh, big spoiler. Whoop de fucking do. But Silent Night, directed by Stephen C. Miller. I should have known I was going to have a problem with this when it's the same fucking guy who directed this piece of shit zombie film called Automaton Transfusion. Cheap jack shit of a zombie movie that I've seen. Okay, I swear to God, that fucking zombie film was filmed in shittier camera. Like, this camera is better camera than the shit in Automaton Transfusion. Makes me want to spit. And it's cool that Ghetto Justice 13 Roger sent this to me. He wanted me to give this a look. I'm not a fan of this movie. I know like my friends Effrey and Mike, they enjoy the film. So feel free to check it out. You probably liked the film. I didn't. The story isn't much. It's Jamie Keane from the My Bloody Valentine remake. She's a deputy, and she's okay acting wise. At the same time, I don't really buy her as a deputy. But she's okay afterwards. But I just don't buy her as a deputy in this small town. I really don't. Malcolm McDowell is the sheriff, and I thought he was fucking terrible. I thought he was fucking annoying. I wanted to. I wish that he wasn't in the movie. It's like, okay, Malcolm McDowell, either play it straight or get the fuck out. Because his sheriff is kind of like Loomis of Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. He's a dick. But he's thinks he's such a badass, and anytime he comes on screen, you have like a little motif underneath the music. Anytime Malcolm McDowell appears to show that this guy thinks he's a badass, but then at crunch time, it's not that he's a coward. He's a dumb motherfucker who screws the pooch. But he was just annoying. He was aggravating. He had shitty lines. Like when Jamie T's trying to talk to him, and he's like, "You put an avocado on the burger." I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Avocado on the burger?" "Oh, now you're putting hummus." I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And it's him saying, "Keep it simple. You don't want avocado on the burger." Were you like a shit sandwich? With my butt cheeks as the buns? Avocado on the burger. Put my cock in your mouth. There's the burger. More like a hot dog. Foot long. Down your gullet. For Christmas dinner. Done like dinner. But I just Malcolm McDowell I didn't give a fuck about. The rest of the cast I didn't give a shit about. Brendan Fair, he's a deputy. I know he was on CSI Miami, but the thing is, I thought he was another guy. Like, when I read that name, I'm like, oh, he's a guy that I like on CSI Miami. But then looking him up and watching the film, I'm like, oh, shit, he's not the guy I was thinking of. He's some guy that I don't even fucking remember in CSI Miami. I watched all the seasons of CSI Miami. I don't remember this guy on CSI Miami. But I didn't give a fuck about his performance. Ellen Wan, she's like sort of the dispatcher. Didn't give a fuck about her. Donald Lode, He's like an asshole in this jerkwater town who dresses as Santa Claus and is the red herring, pretty much. And pretty much this guy in this Santa costume goes around and kills people. And you find out in the last 10 seconds why he's doing it. Kind of like what they did in My Bloody Valentine, the original. You find out in the last 10 seconds, but that's just a much better film, the original My Bloody Valentine. I would say the remake of My Bloody Valentine is better than this film. I'd even say I like the Black Christmas remake better than this film. Because in a way, they kind of have the same... This reminded me of the Black Christmas remake, not only because it took place at Christmas, but the only... It's not much in the acting department. The cast isn't really much for either film. The look, like some of the usage of colors, like with the Christmas, and like at the end of here, the police station, you have a scene that's in green, but most of it's in red with the Christmas theme. They had a good usage of colors in the Black Christmas remake as well. You had some nifty deaths in both films. But, you know, the Black Christmas remake isn't really a classic either. But I give that film a little bit more leeway because I thought it had more interesting stuff to it. Like, you find out the killer, when he was younger, killed his mom, who was an abusive bitch, and made fucking Christmas ornament-shaped cookies from her skin and was eating them. I'm like, okay, that's fucked up. And you see bits of that. I'm like, oh, okay, shit. And like the nasty eyeball stuff and eating eyeballs. And also, I haven't seen that film in a while, but I don't remember the fucking stalk and slash sequences being filmed like someone who had an epileptic seizure, like this film did. Like, like at least Black Christmas remake, from what I remember, it doesn't look like it was filmed with someone with an epileptic seizure. If it was, it wasn't as bad as this. And also, at least that film, granted, it had like 10 different endings. It like wouldn't stop ending, but at least at the end of the day, it had an ending. Here, I thought the ending was pretty weak ass and weak sauce. But I mean, as the stuff in the film, you introduce the characters. They have like one character who gets killed in a very, I thought, stupid way. He's tied down with Christmas lights and he just juiced up, and you see a CGI eyeball pop out, or it's pop, not really pop out, but pop, like CGI eyeball explode. I'm like, okay. Didn't really care for that scene. You find that most people in the town are assholes. I mean, you have like this group in this motel or where the fuck they were shooting sort of adult porn stuff. You have this priest who seems like a pervert. You have some other stuff. Trying to think of the people who got killed. Okay, the Santa. Sometimes it's like he wants to kill someone who's a sinner, but then there are people that I'm like, why do you kill this person? Because he doesn't seem like he's a sinner. Like the mayor. The mayor seems like actually a decent guy, but yet so in a way, this killer doesn't really even stick with his own fucking motif, because there are people who are not really sinners that he kills as well as the quote sinners. I thought maybe it'd be more interesting if he actually were attacking people who were quote sinners, if you don't stick with that motif. But I know, I mean, the guy's crazy, so it's putting logic into it. It's not really the case. But okay, if you want to do something from the original to the remake, that's something maybe you could have. But maybe people would think it was too much like Jigsaw, where you're punishing people. I don't know. Like the priest, it's not much. Or he cuts the priest's fingers, but then he just stabs him and then walks away. Gives this old lady some bloody money. But yeah, he does kill a kid, because this kid is a fucking snot-nosed little cunt. I'll say that. She was a real bitch to her mom. And when I say killer, pretty much he takes a little like electro thing, like a stun gun, stuns her for a bit, and then that's pretty much it. So it's not as awful as it sounds like, but part of me thinks that, because this girl was such a bitch, such a little dick, such a I would not have minded if it was a little bit more horrible. I actually would not have minded. Um, there's one. I mean, the big one that people mention is you have a girl who gets chased outside, barely any clothes on, in the snow, and she gets put into a wood chipper, which you see some blood, of course. Uh, Really, it's that one and a guy where uh, the killer puts an axe and splits the guy's head like this. Okay, I'd give you those two death scenes. But even Black Christmas remake has some good death scenes. I mean, like the ice skate, ice skate, ice skate little death scene, and eyeballs being punched out, and so on and so forth. I don't know, just again, Black Christmas remake isn't much of a film either, but I would rather watch this one than this one. I don't know, that film I could deal with more than this film. That film didn't bore me as much as Silent Night. I thought that was really a big thing, is that it was kind of boring. Most of the death scenes, it just wasn't really much. I mean, you had the antler death scene, which is just the same as it was in the original film. Uh, I did, like I said, one of the deputies pretty much just the little pointy end of the axe in his eye. Uh, Down low when he gets arrested because they think he's a red herring. Pretty much you have this kind of fight, but it's shot in such an epileptic that you can't tell. I couldn't tell what the fuck was going on. And then pretty much I guess the killer gets brass knuckles and punches him in the face, but it's pretty much you just see him going like this and you just hear it. Uh, Mugger McDowell's death scene was pathetic. Because, okay, the killer has a flamethrower, and, Malcolm McDowell says a stupid line like, oh, you brought a flamethrower to a gunfight. And it took him like 50 years to actually pull the trigger of a gun, as they're like this far away, and somehow Malcolm McDowell misses. And then the flamethrower, like you see CJ Flame go by Malcolm McDowell, and then when she finds him, you just see like a little burn on Malcolm McDowell's face. It took me a second, like, is he really dead? But I just, I got burned here too. But I'm like, just like a fucking flamethrower, and all he gets is like this little bit of his face burned. I'm like, you put a fucking flamethrower of a weapon, and they don't really use it that much. I mean, hell, if that was his weapon of choice throughout the whole movie, maybe that'd be interesting. It'd be like a horror version of the Exterminator 2, Exterminator 2, the horror film version. Maybe that'd be more interesting. Like him going up and just burning the fucking whole department store down and just really tearing this town a new asshole. That'd be interesting. He's a holy terror. But it's just the rest of the cast I didn't care about. Jamie King was okay at best. The only two death scenes I could give a shit about was, okay, the wood chipper death and a guy, his head being split in two. I mean, some of the lines I hated, like the avocado burger shit. The red herrings were uninteresting. I thought Jamie Keane is kind of a shitty cop because not only does she fall for one, but she falls for two red herrings. The first red herring is this guy who was kind of dealt with the people in the motel, and then you find out he's actually dealing with drugs, and the guy's actually got the drop on her at one point, and she has to get her ass saved, and then she confronts the guy and shoots him in the head. And then you have another red herring with Donald Logue, who's this asshole, and she's like, oh, wait a minute, look, he used to live here, he moved to here, and back there were some killings, which is a coincidence, but they never really explain that coincidence because he happens to not be the killer. So again, she falls for not one, but two red herrings. The ending isn't much because uh, she finds that her dad, who used to be a cop, is dead. She goes to the police station to rescue the last remaining survivor, Ellen Wan, the dispatcher girl. And it's really a lame fucking sequence because of this fucking jittery epileptic shit. Like the whole thing is like literally like this. Like literally it's shot like this. I swear to God. And half the time I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, what the fuck's happening. Why are you shaking the fucking camera like this? This is a slasher film. Come on, it's not fucking Rob Zombie's Halloween. Well, that's a slasher film too, so maybe it is trying to be like Rob Zombie's Halloween. I mean, you know, the original My Bloody Valentine, Terror Train. You know, you didn't need fucking the jittery, epileptic shit. So that fight scene was fucking lame between her and the killer because I think they both had axes, but there was whether the shady call it jittery, call it epileptic seizure. Maybe the cameraman had an epileptic seizure while doing the film, and he couldn't stop shaking. And then like she gets the flamethrower, burns him, but then she get and the only one get out, and you find out that the guy survived. And even though his whole body was burning, he only has like this part of his face burned, and he's driving away, leaving town. And that's what he did in the last 10 seconds of why he did it, because his father uh, found out that his woman was cheating on him and was flamethrowing her, and then a cop shot him, and it happened to be the cop who was the father of Jamie Keen's character. But then I'm like, well then, okay, how the fuck did you know about everyone else? How did you know that the priest was, like, how did you know about everyone else? Because you did, like, this little scene that apparently he sent presents to all these people. How did you know? Like, who the fuck was this guy? I didn't know who the fuck this guy was. Maybe if you established his character, like, previously in the film, so it's like, oh yeah, that's the guy. If he was, I didn't fucking remember him. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? How the fuck does he know everything? How the fuck does he know where everyone's at and that the priest has some shitty business and this drug dealer has some shitty business? How does he know everything? Why does he just go to a random place and kill the little girl and then leave? And I'm like how the fuck do you know anything? Maybe I missed that. Maybe it went over my radar and my bald head. So be it. I didn't give a fuck. I was getting bored with the film. If you love the film or you like the film, that's fine. But to me, I didn't care for Silent Night. I think it's another crappy slasher film. Has some decent looks to it. Two or so decent, death scenes with practical blood. Jamie Keen is okay, but that's it. Story wasn't interesting, and I can't go to we've seen this all before because that's like every fucking slasher film we've seen before. So that's not really that. But it just Jamie Keen was okay at best. Malcolm McDowell was annoying. The rest of the cast was completely forgettable. Some lines of dialogue was awful. The two red herrings just made me show that Jamie Keen's kind of a shitty cop. The ending is just very anticlimactic. You have a very epileptic kind of fight between Jamie Keen and the killer. She flamethrowers him, but then he gets away and he drives away, and then I guess for a sequel bait ending, I guess. Or whatever the fuck, I guess a sequel bait ending? In case there's a Silent Night 2? Little Bootaloo? I don't know. This film just didn't really do much for me. I was getting kind of bored. I was getting kind of, thought it was pretty tedious. And I'm never gonna watch this film again. There's no reason for me to watch this film again. And if you're wondering about the Blu-ray, the features is like what, a 6 or so minute behind the scenes and deleted scenes I didn't give a fuck about. But yeah, Stephen C. Miller and everyone else, I didn't care for them. I don't care if he wore a Goonies shirt while he's making the film. I'd rather just watch the Goonies then. I just if you like slasher films, give it a look. You may like it. I don't. I'd just rather watch the original Silent Night and Daily Night 1 and 2 back to back. At least if Silent Night Daily Night 2, I can laugh and I'm more entertained by that film. I'm more entertained by Eric Freeman is, hey, garbage day. How's it going, guys? My name is Harry Freeman. You know, his eyebrows outperforming him. But I just Silent Night is just it is what it is, and I don't like my friends Mike, OCP, and Efren. They enjoy the film. I don't. I wasn't a fan of this film. I thought it was really nothing much to run home about, and really that's the end of the day. It's nothing much to run home about. Same shit, different day. Uh, doesn't have a good cast. Kills. I do think of the wood chipper and guy getting his head split, but like a guy gets stabbed, a guy gets choked. The antler scene, but I saw that in the first Silent Night Deadly Night movie, the original. Mother Maddow gets a little burn on the face and he's dead. Donald Lowe gets punched, kind of off screen. You just hear it with brass knuckles. You see the kid get stunned, stun gun. Didn't care for the music as well. Didn't care for the score. Especially didn't care for like the song at the end. I thought the song at the end was shitty. The end credits. This wasn't me. Wasn't for me. I'd rather watch the original April Fool's Day. I'd rather watch Terror Train. I'd rather watch Behind the Mask. I'd rather watch Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I'd rather watch. Uh, I'd rather watch. I said, yeah, I'd rather watch the Black Christmas remake. Black Christmas remake isn't great either, but at least I had an ending, and it wasn't epileptic seizures, and I thought it did a little bit more with the lighting, and it did a little bit more with the music, like the Christmas music, and you know, anyway, that's just my little review of Silent Night, and that's my last thought on it. But yeah, if you like it, if you want to check it out. But I'll never watch this film again. So either way, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you later.